Welcome back to the On the Money YouTube channel powered by Allied Wealth. Have you wondered how to pick the mutual funds and investment options inside of your 401k and how to manage your 401k? Well, today's video is going to speak to just that. I'm Brian Willis, host of the On the Money YouTube channel powered by Allied Wealth. I want to thank you for stopping by. If you like the content we're putting out, give us a like down below. Also hit the subscribe button, and we'll keep you updated when we put out more content just like we're doing today. So folks, this is one of the most requested things on the channel of us is to show people how to invest or allocate their 401k. And it's really interesting to me because so many people that I've worked with over the years, they do it the same way. And we'll go to the screen back here behind me. This is your plans investments. And you've probably seen this list. You get this list. Hey, here's your list of funds to invest in. Pick them out. Good luck. We wish you all the best. And there's really no one coming around your desk each quarter or each month to help kind of advise you on what funds are best. So what do we wind up doing? Well, we wind up doing what most other people do is we start scrolling through this list of funds, and we go over here to the 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, and 10-year average returns, and we start going down and looking at these various returns, and we generally make our decisions based on those returns. And my question to you, is that the best thing to do? Well, let's look at a couple things. So the first thing we'll look at, wrong thing here. And the first thing we'll look at is let's go down to this particular fund right here. I had it pulled up a minute ago, right here. So we've got this Janus fund, Janus Henderson Triton Fund. Man, it's got a 12.78% return, a 10-year return, a 10% return, a 6% return. It's down 15%. That's not so good. This one's down 11%. It's got 11.25% longer-term average. It might be a better fund. But what I'm doing here is I'm looking at these returns and trying to figure out, hey, which funds work best for me? And maybe I'll put 20% in this one, 20% in that one, 20% in another one, 20% in another one, and 20% in another one. That's 100%, right? Yeah, it's 100%. So we've got our funds allocated. And, you know, folks, it's taking that approach is really kind of like throwing darts at a dartboard, because the most important thing about all these funds, sadly, that's not up here is the amount of risk you're taking inside these funds. For example here, if I want to show you 3 investment choices, all right, we have investment choice A, and investment choice B, and investment choice C, all right? So 3 different investment choices here, all right? Investment choice A has a 10% return, investment choice B has a 10% return, and investment choice C also has a 10% return. And I ask you, which of these 3 investment choices is the best choice for you? And you're going to say, I don't know, Ryan. I mean, you know, maybe I put some money in all of them, or I don't know. I mean, C, you know, multiple choice questions always go with answer C. I mean, whatever the thought process is. But the reality is, you really don't have enough information to pick and choose which one of these investments is best for you. And here's why. All right, and I equate this, by the way, to the mutual fund list we were looking at. There are plenty of funds that had about 10% returns, okay? So similar to an ABC investment choice. Well, the reality is what you need to know is the downside potential of the fund, all right? And so what I mean by that is Fund A has a negative downside potential of 20%. Fund B has a negative downside potential of 15%, and Fund C has a negative downside potential of 5%. Now that you have the other side of the equation, I ask you again, which investment choice is best for you? And the answer is pretty easy, because if investment A has 10% upside and 20% downside, that's not as good as investment C that's got the same 10% upside and only a 5% downside. So that's the way I'm trying to get you to think about picking mutual funds in your 401k plan. But how do you know that? How do you dig deeper into your 401k plan and figure out which one of these funds has the kind of risk in it to be this type of fund versus this type of fund? Well, one of the things we have to understand, folks, is something called, it's a risk factor measurement. And I know I'm going to say this, and I'm going to lose some people, okay? But bear with me. I'm going to make this as easy for you to understand as I possibly can. The risk percentage or risk measurement factor is called standard deviation, all right? So a fund standard deviation is called its wobble factor. Now, let me show you what I mean. Basically, you have a bell curve, if you will, that goes just like this, all right? So there's your bell curve. And let's assume this portfolio has an average annual return of 7% per year, all right, and its risk number or risk factor is 13%. And the way you look at this is you draw a line down here, and that's your average return, and then you draw a line this way, and what you get is one standard deviation to the negative of that average return, which is minus 6%. So the way you look at that is, if you take the 7% average return right here, and you subtract the 13% risk number from it, that means you're negative 6%. So 7 minus 13 is negative 6, all right? Now, to the contrary, if you go one standard deviation out this way, to the right, what happens is your return is going to be 20%. So what that means is if that portfolio who averages a 7% return moves one standard deviation or one unit of risk out, you could get a 20% return. Hey, that's pretty cool, right? But if it moves one standard deviation to the left or down, you get a negative 6% return. You say to yourself, that's not a bad situation. But here's the problem, folks. Portfolios and markets, when they move higher, they do move about one standard deviation higher. The challenge is when markets fall, in most big market downturns, the market moves 3 standard deviations lower, all right? So how will we figure that out? Well, we basically take 13% minus 6%, or plus the negative 6, that gives us the minus 19, plus another 13 is 29, it's minus 32%. So if this portfolio were to fall 3 times 13 or 3 standard deviations to the negative, the portfolio could lose minus 32%. And so I would like you to know, before you invest your money in this portfolio, what this portfolio or this mutual fund could do in a major down market, all right? So that's called standard deviation, folks, and this is a great way to use this tool to help guide you. Now, how do you find the standard deviation of mutual funds in your 401k plan? Well, it's actually really simple. So we'll go back up here to the fund list, and we're going to go to this Janus Triton, where we are, Janus Triton Fund right here. Let me highlight it right there. And there's the fund ticker symbol right there, okay? So we got this fund. Again, these are the return numbers here, and the fund ticker symbol is JGMNX. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to a website that's super easy to find. It's out there and available. Anybody can use it, and it's called yahoofinance.com. And when I get over to yahoofinance.com, I can actually put that ticker symbol in there, which was JGMNX. So we type in JGMNX here. And it's going to pull up the Janus Henderson Fund, in theory. All right, so there's the Janus Fund, all right? And so what we do is we go through here and we kind of look at what's on the fund, and we can start looking at a few things. The first thing we can look at is the Performance tab. So we click the Performance tab right there, and we scroll down here, and this will give us our various performance numbers. Here's 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, and 10 year returns. There they are right there. 3.51% is the 1 year, 3 years 3.74%, 5 years 3.74%, 10 years 9.62%. And in the last bull market, the fund made 34%. And in the last bear market, it lost 17.25%, which is not awful, right? 34% upside for 17% downside is not awful, but you have to ask yourself, could you stomach that if that was happening in retirement when you're now depending upon your income to provide your nest egg to provide the income you need to financial lifestyle? And a lot of people can't, right? So to that end, the next thing we want to look at is we go back over here, and I'll hit the back button, and we'll go look at the risk on this fund. And the risk on this fund is where we find the standard deviation. So we go to risk metrics, and we scroll down here, and we'll see right here is standard deviation on the fund, okay? So I'll zoom that in a little bit to make it a little bit bigger so we can see it. All right, so the standard deviation is, the 3 year is 19.5, 22.3, which is a pretty, the 10 year is 18.02. That's a pretty high standard deviation. And when you see it that high, folks, you know that if the market starts going crazy, this is your wobble factor, meaning that's what your portfolio could dip down in a down market, and it may dip down 2 or 3 times that amount minus your initial return. So folks, this video is designed to get you thinking. A lot of people who watch this will watch this video and go, well, Ryan, you know, this is some complex stuff you showed on the channel here. Can you do this for me? And we absolutely can at Allied Wealth. We do this for folks all the time. You can send us your fund list, and we can help provide you a pretty good allocation And with the goal is this: when we do that, we want to take the least amount of risk we possibly can and get the most return we can. And there's ways, folks, to blend these various funds inside of your account to find a way to say, hey, we want 10% of this one, 15% of that one, 20% of that one, 10% of that one. Blend them in a way to where we can seek to get the lowest amount of risk available in your mutual fund selection with the highest potential return. Folks, I hope it didn't get too complicated for you today, and I hope you enjoy the video. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.